This is Nia Divine, representing Certified Proof Productions. When I'm not painting the city red, I'm always tuned into the LANCESCURV show, the spot where it's always kept real.
Madamwhipass, good morning. How are you?
Good morning.
What's going on?
Dude, I am like busting through the scenes, wanting to expound some insight on the Jackson family saga at 52.
Mm-hmm.
Well, latest saga starts with, and now I'm getting all my information because I don't know these people.
Right.
Even though most people think they know the Jacksons because you watched them your whole life and they feel like family. But I don't know these people, so I can only go by what's reported in the media. And I try to stick with the most reputable source in the media in terms of information. So I'm not going to repeat nothing from the Star or the National Enquirer. It'll usually be like Good Morning America, definitely TMZ, you know, sources of that nature. And I mean, sometimes they can get stuff wrong too. So I'm just going by what I'm hearing through whom I deem as reputable sources. Now, it starts off a few days ago. Paris Jackson, you know, that's Michael Jackson's quote-unquote daughter.
Yes.
She tweets something to the effect of, I haven't seen my grandmother in days. You know, I'm paraphrasing. And Randy Jackson tweets something. I think it was Randy. Might have been Jermaine. But then, no, it had to be Randy because Paris tweets something like, well, Randy, you need to have more respect for your mother. Now, Paris is 14 years old. She's a child. And I know that this estate directly involves her and her two brothers, Prince Michael 1 and Prince Michael 2, you know. But she's still a child, and she needs to stay in the child's place. And I'll get back to that in a moment. Somebody needs to be up in that ass. But anyway.
Wow.
Let me hold that, push that to the side, because I know Janet's with me because I just saw Janet trying to... And
no one knows better. No one knows better about getting up in somebody's ass than Madamwhipass.
So, now, the thing is, it's been reported, and it's Catherine Jackson's nephew, which, from what I understand, Joe Jackson's nephew, he's been like an assistant to Catherine. It's just the same nephew that I think it is. He's been helping her out for years, you know, when she goes shopping and things like that. He reported her missing. So for like a day or two, it's like Catherine Jackson was like, where's Waldo? Everybody looking for her. But she's been in Arizona at a spa with the oldest kid, Reby, and, you know, some grandkids, because there's a whole bunch of them. And, you know, just getting away. Also, it was tweeted that, you know, Catherine suffered a mini stroke. Paris is tweeting, you know, basically, that's a lie. You know, come on, girl. Anyway. So, you know, Catherine Jackson is with family. And so I've been reading certain sources who I deem as reputable, okay? And they've been saying basically these kids have been running over Catherine Jackson, who is an 82-year-old woman. Now, this woman done put up with Joe Jackson for more than her life. She done had these Jackson children. They've been in show. We know their record. That woman been through a whole lot. Joe having babies, you know, right down the street. You know, let me just keep this respectful. But anyway, this woman has been through a lot. Now she's raising grandchildren. And teens and soon to be preteens. Okay?
That's tough enough.
And understand this. Teenagers and elderly folks don't mix.
That's right. Only at the cookout.
Only for a short time.
Exactly.
An 82-year-old woman should not be trying to raise no teenagers. It's a horrible concoction. You want to know why? Because teenagers got all that energy. They're young. They're dumb. They think they know everything in the whole wide world. And when you're 82, you done seen a lot. You try to explain to the baby teenager and give them some sense of direction. But the teenager knows everything and ain't going to listen to you because you old and you don't know nothing.
Wow.
And Catherine, she's 82. She done been through the ringer. And she lost her baby, Michael.
Yeah.
And side note, let me tell you something about Catherine. Catherine looks a lot like my mother, Lance.
Wow.
And I don't mean that physically or in their features. Because my mother lost a child. I had a sister before me. 2 years before I was born, she passed away from crib death. And we're talking about 1965. My mother has not ever gotten over that. And my sister was only, 223 days old.
Oh, man.
How do I know it's 223 days? Because my mama counted it like that. There's a look on Catherine Jackson that I've seen on my mother my entire life until the day she passed.
Wow, that's something that
it's the look of the pain of losing a child.
Yeah.
I can't explain it. Maybe a lot of people don't see it. But if you lost a child, you know what I'm talking about. So I just see a lot of what's going on. And I'm about to get raw. And if any of you Jackson family members are listening to this video, I really don't mean any disrespect, but I just got to tell it like I see it, and I tell it like it is.
Do your thing. Do your thing.
It might cut you. It might hurt you. It might scrape you a little bit. I don't mean to. That's just the way I talk. You'll get over it, won't you? Thank you.
Madamwhipass has spoken.
Look, that Paris Jackson is snowballing into a big, huge number. And I'm not talking about a stage show. You know, first of all, she's a female. She's starting to smell herself. There are people who are in her ear. It might be the nephew. It might be the bodyguards. And this is sort of like, I don't want to use the term Illuminati, but it's Illuminati-ish.
There you
where
go.
There are people who are going to try to infiltrate the minds of Michael Jackson's children. Why? Because of money. Now, let me tell you something, Jackson family. I can speak about this because I've dealt with the same thing that you're going through now. There's no difference between your situation now and what I went through. You want to know what the difference is? There's only one difference. You deal with multi-millions of dollars. I dealt with niggas trying to put me in jail over welfare checks that I wasn't even collecting. And I didn't come from a family of welfare. Don't know nothing about it.
Right.
So I know if people gonna try to put me in jail over a welfare check, you can imagine what they're trying to do to these kids over millions of dollars that will last for generations to come.
Preach it, man.
You know, I had 3 kids. They were 3 girls. That I was raising, family members. Father murdered, just like Michael. Mother strung out on drugs. Well,
it is what it is. Tell it. Yeah, somebody understands it. Somebody listening understands it. This is real, and these situations go on that are so common, but to have your brilliance here, to be able to put it all together, and you see it ahead of time, that's a godsend. It might not even be about the daughter, Michael Jackson's daughter. As they hear this story, they may hear something or see a similarity in what you're saying and be able to stop a tragedy from happening.
Well, Me raising these 3 girls, and I'm a single woman, don't have any children of my own, and I'm not a rich woman. But I tried to provide a loving home, a good school, and just a nurturing environment in which they can flourish, grow, develop, and become strong black women. Now, their crackhead mama, who never called them for years, no birthday calls, no Merry Christmas, no how you doing in school, none of that. For years. And that's why I took them in. And they were doing well on the honor roll, in band, cheerleading, just involved in a lot of extracurricular activities. They had friends. They were glowing, just as happy. And finally, one day, their mother decides after 30 years, you know what? I'm in my 50s. It's about time I stop smoking crack. Let me go in rehab, get myself together. And that's what she does. And then, they encourage you to reconnect with your children and your family and apologize and make amends. And I ain't got a problem with that.
Right.
So I invite her to come down here. She comes down, she sees that each of her daughters have their own room with their own bathroom. I know that don't mean nothing to you, Jacksons, but it's big when,
Exactly.
Okay?
Hey, that's big for a lot of people. Hey, that's big for a lot of people. And I can say, I see for myself what you provided. And I have to say it, and you're not bragging. You are an accomplished woman. Yes, you may not be rich, but to do all that you've done on your own and to offer that, heck, sometimes I wish you'd adopt me. Man, I love your home, and I say home, but it is a fabulous house, and it's not because of the whole materialistic thing, but you are a success story. You have worked hard, and you have been through a lot, and you are a single black woman, and you have accomplished, and I take my hat off to you each and every time, and I know you're not going to say it here and now, but I'm going to say it, and I can't wait till the next time I come and visit you, because I'm going to stay a lot longer. Might not leave.
So, it doesn't matter.
But go ahead, sweetheart, with your story.
She saw how they were living.
Yeah.
And for her to go back to New York, I know she was seething. And this is her stuff, not mine, okay? This is her baggage, not mine. And now when you in your early 50s and you start looking over your crackhead life and you see your children entering, adulthood just about, now it's all about having your children do something for you. Now you want your children to take care of you. So you want your children back because they're 16 and 15 and they can get their working papers and get a job and they can help pay the rent because, after years of living in the New York subways, and now that you're sober, you need an apartment, and guess what? There's a light bill, and there's a gas bill, and there's a cable bill. So why not stir up trouble, poison the children's minds against Madamwhipass, so I can get my children back, get them to get jobs, and it'll be easier for me to take care of myself. That was that in a nutshell.
Yeah.
So when I look at the Jackson family and this situation, whoever has the children gets the money.
Makes sense.
Money will, and I know you Jacksons know this very well, money will change, I don't know. Money knows how to bring the devil out of people.
It changes the whole dynamic. It stirs up the worst in people. It can do some good things, but whatever you are in your character, it amplifies it. So if you have a rotten base that nobody can see because everything is okay, but when that money comes, it reveals it. Whatever you are deep down, it's going to bring it out. It's just like alcohol. So people demonize the money, but money is a neutral thing. Money just brings out what's already there. You see? Money,
and I can tell you that
money is spiritual MSG. Put it that way.
Right. And I can tell you that there are people who are in the heads of those children, and particularly Paris. And, you know, one thing that I noticed that today's people do pertaining to children is that they adulterize them very quickly. You know, when we were growing up, we were children and we knew we were children. Kids today don't know that they're kids. And that's a big problem.
Yes.
And we keep assigning adult mentalities to a teenager. Teenagers are batshit crazy. They're out of their mind. They're nuts. And you know why I can say that? Because when I was a teenager, I was crazy too, just like you and everybody else.
I know I was.
And it's easy to manipulate their minds, to turn them against their loved ones, because everybody wants their hand in the MJ pot. Now they say, you know, Michael Jackson didn't leave nothing to his siblings in either will. You know what I say to that? So what? Those Jacksons slept on the bus together. They sacrificed together. They performed together. They rocked the world together. And if he didn't leave them nothing, hey, that was his choice. So they should sit idly by and watch white people come in and suck, you know, the money away.
Right.
Nobody for generations to come should ever have to worry about a paycheck. And it's right now, it's in jeopardy for them. I'm about to use the word niggas all through this. And I don't mean that to be derogatory, but I mean it in the sense of how white people view us.
Yes, yes.
And it's always black people who can attain a mass amount of a fortune, and here come the white man snatching it away from the niggas. Now, when you look at Paris, Prince 1 and Prince 2, little baby Prince, he might be Hispanic. Actually, I think he is. But he's a white Hispanic, because you got white Hispanics and black Hispanics. And white Hispanics think they're better than the black Hispanics. So I'm going to classify all three of those children as white. Let's be real.
Yeah.
You know Michael's sperm ain't in none of them children. Ain't nobody stupid. But they're still his kids.
Right.
But to the powers that be, hey, they got a shoe in. Because these ain't nothing but some white kids that have inherited this nigga's money. And they gonna let them children know that you ain't no kin to them niggas. That rich dancing nigga left it to you. You ain't gotta mind them niggas. You don't have to listen to them. You got 4 years when you get your first installment.
Wow.
And you gotta wait some time and you'll get some more. You'll never have to worry about it a day in your life. And those niggas don't want you to have it. Oh yeah, they're bleeding in her ears, honey.
That's true.
And I know you Jacksons know this. And that's why you're doing what you're doing. So for those of you who are saying, oh, the Jackson brothers, they just want Michael's money. They mad because he left them out. You know what? If Michael left them out, he left them out. But they're brothers, they're blood, and guess what? Michael was on drugs. Maybe he wasn't thinking clearly. How about that? Whoever thinks clearly when they're addicted? And hey, Michael Jackson never did anything normal. He always did shit out of this world. He didn't even get high like the average person.
You're right.
Average person smoke crack, do coke, smoke weed. This nigga going to sleep on propofol.
Madamwhipass. Classic.
You know, sorry, Jackson, I gotta keep it real. Don't mean that I don't love you. I respect you. Okay? But gotta keep it real. I'm not trying to diss you or anything.
So true.
Even though it might sound, you know, disrespectful, I'm just telling it like I see it.
You're being who you are. That's right.
I ain't changing for nobody.
I never knew you as Madam Kiss Ass. I always knew you as Madam Whip Ass from day one.
So, You know, so he was not in his right mind.
Indeed.
Okay? And apparently he severed ties with these executors over his estate, John Blanca and whoever else this person is. And I mean, they are intelligent, you know, wizards at, you know, business and managing money and all of that. You got to give them their props.
That's right. That's right.
But their best interest is not in Michael's estate. It wasn't in Michael, and it definitely ain't in the niggas, the extracurricular niggas of the Jackson family. It's not. Now, when Michael passed, he was like in $500 million of debt. Just last week, the state is out of debt. This is where the profit comes in. I support the Jackson siblings 150,000% in what they're doing. Because if anybody should benefit from Michael's estate, it should be his children, and it should be the siblings as well.
That's right.
Especially if you got wicked white folks trying to take everything for themselves. Why can't the Jacksons have a piece?
That's right.
For their children and their children's children.
Right.
So I saw that Janet tried to snatch Paris' cell phone from her. Paris wouldn't give it up.
Oh, for real?
Yeah. Now, see, Janet, you had that taking place out in the open. You know, you got helicopters flying around with them special cameras, can zoom in and you know, see a gray hair in your head. You should have took her in one of those bathrooms and slapped the shit out of her and had her turn over her cell phone to you. You know, you don't let children rule.
That's right.
Especially teenagers. I don't care if she's a future millionaire. Right now, you're a 14-year-old child. And you do what adults say. So, as I was saying, there's people getting into the ears of these kids. And it has to be like staff, bodyguards. It has to be on the inside because those kids, you know, it's shielded.
Well, see, people from the outside are going to get to those, get to the staff and get to the bodyguards. They're not going to go directly in because that's too obvious, and everybody's decency radar will go up, and all of a sudden proactively do the right thing and keep them away, because some of those staff and some of those bodyguards, they're going to want something a little more too, even though they're probably being paid well and live well. But remember, the gravy train is not going to last forever because these kids are going to get older. So in the back of their mind, well, I got 4 more years, 5 more years to be on the payroll like that in certain capacities. I mean, you can't wipe a 19 or 20-year-olds behind when they get to that age. You understand? So nobody's going to watch the bodyguards and the staff and the cooks and all of these different people, the groundskeepers, and let them get to them. Like, say, listen, you're in there with them. Give them money. I mean, here's $50,000. This is what we want to do. Here's $100,000. They'll even give $500,000. The powerful people, because that's a sound investment. If you can so and so and so and so, if you can get this information or tell me what you overhear, tell me everything that you see. You can't tell me there are not at least 5 people on the inside who are paid off and quiet about it. Bring in a recording device and let's hear what this person says. Trust me.
Send this message to Paris. Check Paris' cell phone records. Who's she been talking to?
Yep.
You know, this is about to get real ugly. And the sad thing is that Paris is young and dumb. But you got people manipulating her and acting like they're in her corner. And, you know, making her feel she's more mature than she really is. And you can take control of your life and this and that and the other. Honey, she don't know. Because they will use her like a bar of soap until she's all washed up. You got people like Gloria Allred I know that woman is itching in her drawers trying to get to Paris. A whole bunch of white America want to get to those white children.
And extract
and
riches.
It pissed me off because all of America was in love with Michael Jackson.
That's right.
From the Jackson 5. And definitely, man, I can remember they would report about Michael Jackson on the Thriller days, the reporters, and at the end of the report, they'd be like, ooh, that Michael Jackson, he sure is somebody, isn't he? Everybody was on his dick. Excuse me. Ooh, that was crude.
No, it's real.
And I normally don't speak that vulgar, but it's the truth. They were on it. And then Michael started changing, and they started losing respect for him. Matter of fact, they lost respect when he bought the Beatles catalog. That was it then.
Wow.
The Beatles, that's white people's God. And the nigga owns it? Oh, no. And he still owns a percentage of the Beatles catalog. That's very valuable to white people. And Michael was no dummy. And my condolences to you, Jackson family. I mean, hey, I know you loved Michael. I loved him too. Boy, did I love me some Michael Jackson. Whew. Love that man. But, you know, he started changing. And then he just became like the laughing stock of, at least in America, I'm not sure places like Europe and other areas of the world disrespected him as much as his own country did. I'm not sure. I ain't been around the world. Y'all have. I haven't. So I don't know. But I doubt it. I doubt it. And so these people just see black and white. It didn't matter to Michael if you were black and white, but it sure matters to these white folks.
You best believe it.
You know, so there are people who are itching to get next to Paris. And Paris is about to enter that rebellious stage. She's going to go running and befriending the very people the Jackson family don't want her to speak to. Just because she can and just because she's going to rebel. Because I'm 14, I'm 15, I'm 16, I'm 17, I'm grown, I know it all. When you don't know shit, Paris, and you better listen to your family.
You're right.
You better listen.
That makes 100% sense, too.
So, either it's going to have two outcomes. Either the Jackson family is going to get this thing right, or it's going to go wrong. And if it goes wrong, that means Paris is going to write a tell-all book. Paris is going to turn against that family.
I can see that from now, yeah.
Why? Because she's going to be manipulated into doing it. And the foundation, it's letting you know what type of foundation was laid in terms of loyalty to your family. You know, parents got to understand, no family is perfect.
That's right.
Every family on this planet got a conflict going on. Whenever you got human beings dwelling together, you know, dealing with each other, there's going to be some conflicts.
Of course.
Yeah, family members going to piss you off. My family members piss me off every day. But at the end of the day, they're family.
That's right.
But now when I think about it, is Paris and her brothers truly family?
Right. On the deepest of levels, are they? Yeah. And it's not about color we're talking here on this particular point. It's that connection where you know, no matter how jacked up a family member is, that they're still connected to you, that you still came out of the same womb, or there's a certain lineage there. And not that you couldn't love someone who's adopted or love someone who was put in the place of because you've taken them as your own. I'll leave that open to debate. Some people say, oh, they are his blood kids, or they have his genes, or they don't. No, there's a psychic connection. There's a deep-rooted DNA spiritual thing, mysterious thing that, you know, you are rooted and connected. And when you come up with people whispering in your ear that you may not be, or in a way to let you know that you're not, and to separate you at the root, especially when there's this money floating around this way, and it's got to be really an intense situation. And remember, those kids are not going to have a normal childhood. They haven't had a normal childhood. They never did. They're going to be touched in a way where they're going to come up maybe strange or different. Michael Jackson never had a childhood. He gave his life to us with the entertainment, but he yearned for the childhood. That's why he loved to give to kids and have all this amusement park on his property and everything, because he yearned for that. So what are they going to yearn for? They're thrown into a life of treachery. Michael Jackson had them shielded from everything, and all of a sudden, boom, they're out and about, TV interviews, speculation, all the leeches. They couldn't be prepared for that. They better be a little ghetto child who can overhear little things and know, mama might be smoking crack, or daddy over there cheating with the church sister, and they'll be a little more acclimated to being able to deal with what's coming. These kids are not ready for that. And then when you throw the whole race thing in, or the appearance of how they look, and then you see that there's a black family, and it's like, wait a second, these people ain't part of me. Now you know how the world is. Oh, you all are you're really beautiful. You'll never need plastic surgery. You all are already talented, and your father, and they'll stroke the part about their father loving them. They'll say and join on to anything to get them to that point. They're not doing this in one step. They're going to take their time and do it. They're going to do things for them. They're going to be there for them, to really lodge themselves in their subconscious mind. So when it's time to make the move, they know exactly what buttons to push.
My definition of a family is two or more people, whether they are related by blood or not, who have decided to support and help one another. Whether it be emotionally, morally, financially, it's all about sticking together. So, whether they are genetically linked to Michael Jackson,
right,
or not, it's up to them whether they're going to decide and accept the Jacksons as true family.
If they can accept Michael, they should be able to accept them, but the world won't let it happen.
No, they won't. They won't.
Their mold is too soft right now. They like I said, they don't understand the vastness of treachery that's around them. They think, it's almost like a little kid who thinks, oh, it's raining outside. Let me run to the mailbox, not knowing it's a hurricane. What they've dealt with and what they've known so far in life before, in that shielded phase, that protected phase, it's gone. And they're walking right into a hurricane, blizzard, a tornado, tsunami, whatever worst condition you could think of in your part of the world, they're walking into it. And they can't see it. There's mud all over the windshield, and they're driving 100 miles an hour. And it's a traffic jam up ahead. We're not wishing this on them. We only see it. Let me tell you something. It's just like the older folks back in the day who, to you, seemed grouchy, but they were saying things that seem harsh, but it's only because they had the foresight because of their experience. And they were really saying it out of love, and they were disgusted at what they saw coming in your young life. And after a while, as you got older, you said, wait a second. This person who I hated, who always had the grouchy stuff to say, they were really telling the truth. And now that they're all bent over and curled over and old, old, I got to go over to him and say, you know what? I got to say that I really appreciate you and love you for always telling the truth. Let me tell you something. The truth tellers never get their props until the end or till after they're gone. You know, the real revolutionaries of the world always get the boulevard named after them after they're gone.
Mm-hmm.
The people who hated them the most will turn around and realize, wow, now I understand what was in my midst. And so you've taken on the whole, you've taken the baton and carried it, and now you're saying the same thing. You're now that elder who's speaking on a child's life. Doesn't have to be somebody who is in your immediate midst. This is a public figure, yes, but the scenario works out the same way. It's just amplified because of who their father was and the amount of money that stands to be the prize for whoever manipulates the best.
Mm-hmm. And, you know, Paris is just too young to understand that, you know, you got family members. Some of them are really great. Some of them are good. And a lot of us, we got family members who ain't shit. And, you know, those are the cards, you know. I look at life like a game of gin rummy. You know, when you're dealt your 7 cards, and you get a card you don't like, you can't throw it back in the deck.
Mm-hmm.
You got to keep your hand and play it to win.
That's right.
So the hand of life you've been dealt, little Miss Paris Jackson, you were born to a superstar of the world, Michael Jackson.
Right up the box.
There'll never be another one like him.
Mm-hmm. Never.
You are to inherit millions and millions of dollars. You have famous aunts and uncles. You got the sweetest grandmother. And by the way, where's Joe Jackson? You lucky Joe is just too old to whoop your ass, Paris.
I'm telling you. You know
Anyway.
what? You know what? In the end, isn't it funny how the Joe Jackson influence just a little bit? You know, he's like that bottle of pepper that's just too hot to put on anything. But if we just had a drop of him hanging around to beat off these people who are around the kids, that would be a good thing. He's that bully who beat people down so bad that you knew, but now somebody beat your behind, and now you're looking for him. It would be nice to have him around as an influence, even though he's alive. Where is he? We need him around them kids, really. Not to beat their behind in a brash way, but to beat the behinds of the people, to be a Mr. Madamwhipass on those people who are around the kids and scheming on them. Seriously.
That strong patriarchal voice is needed. You know?
That's right.
And, I mean, this is the hand of life you've been dealt. Now, play it to win in love without hurting people.
That's right.
And the Jackson family, Catherine, they didn't take you in because of all this money. They took you and your brothers in because you are Michael's children, and to them, your family.
That's right.
And they love you. Now, I know you might have some uncles who are knuckleheads. One uncle looks like he draws on his hair every day with shoe polish.
Like he fooling somebody.
Hey, I had a weird uncle, too. Okay? Most people do that crazy uncle in the family.
Mm-hmm.
He don't mean no harm. He love you, too.
Shoe polish.
Accept him for who he is. He has his idiosyncrasies. He sees things a little differently. He might do things differently.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But, you know, accept it to the point where it just doesn't affect you in a negative way.
Right.
That's all. And love them, because at the end of the day,
It's all about love.
these people love you more than these outsiders who control your father's estate.
Exactly.
Don't let nobody tell you different. You got an aunt who looks like a Barbie doll. You know, and somebody got in her ear. You can check the videos, Paris. I'm sure you've seen it. Where she went against your father. But at the end of the day, her family forgave her. Why? Because they're family and they love each other. Family ain't always going to do things right. Family will hurt you. They will say some hurtful things.
Mm-hmm.
That's in everybody's family. It ain't just you.
That's right.
And it's not necessarily true that they meant the hurtful things they may have said or done. It's all about conflict. Conflict comes into your life to help you grow.
Well said.
Now, if you want to be so grown, you don't know everything, young miss. You don't. You're only 14. You just got into the world. But if you want to be so grown, start by sticking with your family. Bottom line. Because at the end of the day, that's who's going to have your back.
That's right.
Not the John Blankers of the world. Not the whoever is all these big mucky mucks in show business. Because when they look at you, Paris, they see dollar signs.
That's right.
They don't see your pretty eyes. They don't see your beautiful hair. They don't see, your thoughts and your feelings. Through their eyes, they don't see a stature. They see a dollar sign. But when your family looks at you, they see Michael's baby girl. They see Paris. They see Prince 1 and Prince 2. They see you as children, as human beings. They see you as a legacy.
That's right.
And they really want the best for you.
That's right.
There might be a part 2 to this video. I'm sure there will be.
I'm quite sure.
This thing to develop.
Trust me. But I think you're dead on. I think you're dead on at this point because I don't believe there's anybody out here who saw, excuse me for talking crazy, just woke up. But when, like I said, Madamwhipass speaks, I listen. Just have to say, for the record, we got together early this morning, and I heard the urgency in your voice, and I had to capture it. I had to, get this as soon as it came out, because lots of times in our conversations, when you first come out with stuff, that's when it's the most effective and the most explosive. And to repeat it or hold it in and say, let's just catch this later, you lose some of the intensity. That's the way we have to deal with the greatness that's within Madamwhipass, because like I said,
Lord.
Yeah. Thank the Lord for blessing us with you, because look, somebody's going to hear this.
You're far too kind.
But you must agree with me. Long before we got on the internet, you must agree with me that I've always been saying this about you. Years ago. Didn't I?
Yeah.
Okay, you have to humbly say yes. You're humble with it. You know what I mean? But see, now you turn back into the civilian. Now you turn back into your government name that I know and no one else knows. You see, it's like the werewolf when he's and he comes back. But when that part rouses up inside of you righteously, trust me, I got my popcorn, my pad, and my pencil. But yeah, we got to do a part 2 of this, and I want you to just keep an open eye to the developments and stuff, and like I said, hey, let's watch this story and see what happens. But it surely looks like what you just said. Trust me, I'm 100% sure of that.
Yeah, and the media is gonna get all in this business and manipulate stuff. They going through it, so I'm just gonna be praying for God's solution in this situation.
As always.
And praying that, Paris's eyes will be opened sooner than later.
Mm-hmm.
And praying that, Lord, just bind the devil in the name of Jesus.
Yes.
Amen. We're going to conclude this video. Thanks for tuning in and listening.
Yes, thank you.
Y'all peace out.
Peace.
Make sure to check out the boldest blog at LANCESCURV.com and follow SCURV on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube under LANCESCURV.